Do you think life is simpler as time evolves? For some, it can be more complicated when facing issues about health, estate plans, probate, long-term care, and more. That's why Attorney-CPA Joe Cordell hosts ElderTalk with TuckerAllen, providing intelligent answers for those thinking about their future. Here's Attorney-CPA Joe Cordell.
Welcome to another episode of ElderTalk. We're continuing on a theme here, Jill. I think that there is a lot of interest out there as people are starting to break out of their captivity from this COVID.
Good way to put it.
Yeah, some people have been in institutional environments and then have left and gone back home, some out of fear, some facilities, in fact, in Missouri even closed. So now people are starting to rethink what will be my long-term living arrangements. So some are looking to return to a community environment, which can include assisted living, independent living, skilled care. And others are checking it out and thinking about the possibility. So we decided we need to have other resources, people who represent some of the options that exist in the Missouri area, to come on. So why don't you, in that spirit, introduce our guest for today?
I would love to do so. We have here with us Kathy Blattel, who is the financial director of Twin Oaks, and her lovely mother, Kathy Huber, who is the founder of Twin Oaks, and you're celebrating your 40th anniversary. What a milestone. Thank you, ladies, for being with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mm-hmm.
40th anniversary. Now, dare I ask, do you disclose, Mrs. Huber, your age?
Oh, I'm 87.
87.
And a resident
never.
at Twin Oaks.
Yeah, and I'm a resident also.
I would never have guessed you were 87.
I founded it in 1981, and like I say, we've celebrating the 40th anniversary this year, and I like being a resident.
Well, you must. I mean, I like people that use their own product.
Yes. What a ringing endorsement.
Yeah, I worry to see a chef bringing in something from outside to eat his own meal. But so give us a picture of what Twin Oaks is today. A lot of people don't know the size of Twin Oaks. They heard of it, and they know maybe a particular facility, but I don't think people recognize the scope of your success.
So now we have actually 3 separate campuses. We have the original campus in O'Fallon, Twin Oaks Estate, and that's just an assisted facility, beautiful on 7 acres. And then we expanded in 2010 to Wentzville. And Wentzville has an assisted care facility, an independent apartment building, and then 40 villas that are wonderful, beautiful.
So villas are individual units?
Correct.
Houses,
Yes.
they're like a duplex.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they've got basements and garages, and we love our villa residents. They're very active.
And this is in the Wentzville?
That's in Wentzville.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then in 2012, we wanted to do some senior housing affordable projects. So we've got 2 of those, one in Lake St. Louis, one in Wentzville. And then we also have affordable villas for seniors. And those are quite beautiful too. So
you have villas in 2 locations?
Correct.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Affordable and market rate.
And so people can choose whether they want to live perhaps in a more of a condo environment or apartment versus something resembling their house.
Yeah, it gives them a lot of options, and I think that's what's make our facility kind of nice, because it's not just one place. They can go and choose the kind of living they like to have. So
how many units, or what is the capacity that you could handle in these 3 units, these 3 facilities?
So we're somewhere between 350 and 400, depending on how many married couples are there at any given moment. But we're right about 375 residents right now.
Wow. That's a good number. But it's small enough to where it doesn't seem like an institution.
Yeah. I don't think anybody, even when they walk through, feel like it's an institution. Because we value having a nice family type of atmosphere, and so I've always wanted to have that, because I used to work in nursing homes, and I didn't like a lot of things I saw. So we decided to change, and people, they feel comfortable, being there.
So let's go back in time a little bit. Tell us a little bit
1981.
about how you got into this profession.
Well, like I say, I was working in nursing homes, and I was in hospitals first, and then I worked I actually worked with St. Joe's about 10 years too. But I see these people, and they would go downhill, because there just wasn't anything there for them. I mean, yeah, they had 3 meals and a bed, and that was about it.
That was back in those days.
Yeah, 1981.
Many of us remember, and that's the reason a lot of people, older people now, when they hear that they might have to go to a quote-unquote nursing home.
Oh, scared to death.
Yeah, because they remember what you were describing, which was true at one time.
Right. But like I say, I don't know. I decided to have something different, and I did. So I wanted them to feel comfortable, and they do. I mean, the residents themselves, they choose what they like to do, what they don't like to do, and we listen to them.
But how did you make that transition? So you're working in a hospital in the 70s. Is that accurate? Mm-hmm. So how did you transition from that to starting an independent living facility? Or
kind of like you got me. Like I say, my basic thing was I wanted something different. It didn't have to be the way we were used to doing things. And I understand that I did pretty much start something that nobody else had. They had old folks' homes, but all they got there was a bed and a
I remember that phrase, old folks' homes.
And boarding houses.
And I didn't want that. See, I wanted something where they could have fun. Even I'm 87, but I still like to go out and have fun, have a good meal, laugh, and have things to do. And that's exactly what we did.
And you started your first facility in your home?
In my own house.
Oh, my goodness.
So you didn't, it's not as if you had to go out to a lot of investors and put together a lot of money to get started. You started small.
Very small. Yeah. I had 12 little residents, and I thought I was done. I really did. Because I figured I could handle that. I had already went through St. Mary's for an RN, so I am also an RN. I had my administrator's license, so I had everything I needed as far as the state was concerned.
That's an important piece of information. I didn't know that. So you're an RN.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so that definitely helped. Mm-hmm. And then you registered through the state. I guess there was a license required at the time.
Right, yeah. Yeah, in nursing homes, we have to be licensed, which is different. Like when you work in a hospital, they don't require, that type of thing.
But did you start out though as a skilled care? I was assuming you started out with like independent or assisted living, essentially.
Just assisted living, what we call. Yeah.
So
we were. In other words, we don't give IVs, and we don't do bed care or that type of thing. People have to be ambulatory, and more or less, they don't really take care of themselves, but at least they can walk and take showers. We do assist even with that. So I think at Twin Oaks we do give a lot of activities and fun things to do, and we take them out on outings, and we just do everything, And we have a lot of fun.
So tell me, I want to hear about the growth, though. So you start out in your house, essentially.
Yeah, in my own house.
In O'Fallon, correct? Okay.
My kids remember that. They used to talk about, because they were remodeling our house at the same time, so they used to talk about having breakfast and having
sawdust in the cereal.
Yeah.
Well, you were probably called on from time to time to do something, weren't you?
Both my sister was 14 and I was 16. And then my older sister also helped Mom with the books, so it was a family event back then.
Family business.
Yeah, and then the CEO of the company today, Tim Blattel, who is my husband as well, she needed somebody to mow the yard in the summer of 1981. So he was just a boyfriend at the time. And I said, well, I think he could help mow the yard. So she snatched him up, and he started by mowing the yard. And now he's the CEO of the company.
Who knew what he was getting into?
He had no idea.
Well,
but they made a good team.
Let's walk through this progress some. So you start out in 81 this way, the way we've been talking about. At some point, you move into a different facility, a facility dedicated to this purpose. About what year was that?
Oh.
Ballpark.
She expanded the first time, the second time, the third time, and then the fourth time she actually combined the buildings that she had built on the campus, and that was in 1995. So in 95, our look in O'Fallon is the same look that we have, today. So she did 4 expansions on her own. She's quite a little architect, and she'll be humble, but she designed the rooms the way they are, and they're wonderful. They really are. They're lots of space. She always wanted walk-in closets for everybody, and she just, she designed them the way she wanted to live. So,
Marianne, you're a woman of many talents.
Well, like I say, the key was I built it as if I would have to live in one. And, you have better ideas if you know that you're going to have to live there.
You certainly have better motivation.
Yeah. So that was in 95. And then in 2010, we expanded into Wentzville. And the Wentzville design is the same. It's her design, just a little bit different. And she was still drawing up designs and plans and telling us what to do, and she keeps us in line yet today.
Okay,
I'm sure.
Yeah, but when they told me they were going to Wentzville and what they wanted up there, I about fell over because I says, "You're going to do what?" And they told me how many $1 million it was going to cost. Anyway, that was a surprise. I never expected that.
Yeah, you're used to going down to Home Depot and picking up some lumber.
Exactly.
That's exactly.
Maybe
that's
the
her.
Central Hardware probably back then.
Yeah.
So the timeline then again was 94 is when your original facility really had its present shape. Around 94. And then,
Correct.
And then Wentzville was the second facility.
Correct.
And that was, what year did you complete that?
2010.
2010. And then the third facility?
And then 2012 is when we did the affordables. So it's been pretty much, and we got some plans. We've got some fun things that we're working on now, to continue expanding.
So tell me about the management structure. So you're a resident, Ms. Huber. I'm sure that you have a voice in some of the management, but who is the full-time management team?
It's actually Tim and Kathy. Yeah, they're the, if you want to call it our leaders, if you want to call it that. Of course, naturally, I get in there once in a while too.
I'm sure you have some helpful views.
Yeah.
So Tim, your husband, is the CEO?
Correct. And he's the administrator in O'Fallon. And then my sister Kim is our human resources, and payroll. So we kind of do the financials together, my sister and I. But then what she also is pretty proud of, and I'm pretty proud of, is our Wentzville administrator is my son Justin. So he went to Missouri State and got his business degree.
He got a 4-year degree, and as he was going through it, I think it was when he was just starting his junior year, because when he went into it, he says, "Dad, I'm not going to do this." I says, "I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do world. So about when he started to be a junior, he came back to Tim and says, "Dad."
It's amazing how that can happen.
He changed his mind, and so like I say, and also Ashley
and then
did
Ashley,
the same thing.
So she's got her.
So we've got family members that have all these degrees that could go anywhere and get a lot higher paying job. And we just all love doing what we're doing.
So these are 2 of your grandchildren?
Those are grandchildren.
Yeah.
And so your son is administrator?
He's the administrator.
At
And then,
Wentzville?
my daughter, Ashley's got her master's in social work. So she's social work out at Wentzville. And then her other granddaughter, my sister's daughter, Kylene, is a physical therapist. So she's moving back from Nashville.
Oh man, this is a family
So she'll have
business.
Yeah,
Really?
so she'll be the physical therapist.
And so often we hear where kids don't want to go into the family business.
See, that's what I when I started, I thought maybe Kathy and Kim might come in a little bit, had not a clue that my grandkids would be interested. But, and so whatever the drawing board is, we all love doing what we're doing.
Yeah, one more little fun is there's 29 family members that work between the 4 communities, 29 actual related. And then in addition to that, we have 3 or 4 families that aren't actually related, but they, like the mom, dad, daughter, sons work there as well.
Generational participation.
It's generally, yeah. So we've got some employees that have been with us 39 out of the 40 years.
And that's unheard of in that industry.
Yeah. It's a
that is
majority.
unheard of.
It is. And I realize that, but but see, we pay attention to our employees and we listen to what they talk about, and it's just a different atmosphere. And people say even when they come in our door, there's something different. And I think it's just because we're very relaxed, and we want people to have fun. I want to hear that laughter. And when I was working in nursing homes, I'll tell you, it's just different.
Yeah.
So let me ask you then how you accommodate people's often evolving needs when they get older. And a popular concept that we've talked about in the past on this show relates to continuing care communities and the ability to start out maybe at one level, a low level of care, and then potentially needing more without having to go shop for an entirely new relationship. Tell me about how you meet that need.
Well, first of all, we do have RNs and LPNs. And so that was my big key to me, is that we do take really good care of our people, and they can foresee a lot of this, and they're given medications. But like you say, as they debilitate, they don't want to leave. They really don't want to leave. And so we try to accommodate as much as we can.
So you provide all services short of skilled care, is that right?
That is correct.
Now, that's an interesting concept. I don't think that we've talked to anybody that does that. We've had a couple of other businesses in the industry on, and they both really, I think, focused more on skilled care.
Right.
So what we're finding is that, and I kind of preluded to our expansion, and what we feel is a popular item in the future are those villas. The villas have got a huge wait list. I don't know if it's maybe the boomer generation that wants even more independence from the apartments, but we've already found in the last 10 years that the feeder from the villas to the apartments to the assisted has worked really well. They start in the villas and they're still going to Florida. We've had snowbirds, but they enjoy the happy hours. They enjoy the trips. They don't always like driving downtown and doing some of the trips that we do. So, and then as they age, the apartments look a little bit more, and they already know everyone in the community. So now it's fun to be in the apartments and do those, and then when they need a little bit more help with the nursing, and Mom alluded to. From the time she started, she wanted 24-hour nursing, not just nurse aides. So our nursing staff, our actual RNs, our status is so much higher than what is required by the state. The state's requirements are good, but we have 24-hour all the time. So,
really? Okay.
And you want the incentive to be that your loved one is not sort of nudged along the path to more care. And
no, we want them to stay healthy. We want them to stay in the villas and the independent.
Your interests are, and I feel better when someone I'm doing business with, their interests are aligned with mine. And we've talked about this on a show recently in which we had a guest who was a consultant. He and his wife are consultants in the industry, and they help people find good places to live. And he said one of the dilemmas is facilities that offer continuing care is that really the economics are that when they get them sooner to the long-term care, then that's more monetarily advantageous. So you don't want to have to count on someone's character to resist the temptation to make more money. You want making more money to be consistent with what the right thing to do is. And in your scenario, certainly the incentive is to keep them healthy.
It is.
Right.
It is. And it works. It really does.
And I have to ask, what has it been like at your living facilities during the pandemic?
So what a crazy year, right?
Yeah,
and
I've
said over and over, if anyone told me last March when we shut down this week, a year ago, it would be a year, we probably wouldn't have made it. But I am so incredibly proud of our staff, proud of, Justin and Tim, who've been our leaders, and I do thank God for the protection that he's brought on our communities.
Right.
We have had 0 deaths.
0 deaths.
That's
0
awesome.
deaths. We have had no COVID in the O'Fallon facility. We only had 2 residents that are both healthy and with us, in the Wentzville facility. So there was no breakouts. we had a plan in place that, if anyone would have come down with COVID, or if we were worried about exposure, they were moved to a safe house, which is one of our beautiful villas across the street.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's a wonderful function for a villa, right?
the plan went perfect, and we have come through. And as I was sharing with Jill, Tim was really sharp about building a visitor center that we had approved by state right away in the very beginning. So completely plexiglass from floor to ceiling with two-way speakers. So in both facilities, resident families have been able to come in and visit face-to-face, talking normal, not on a phone, throughout the pandemic.
And that's so
throughout
important.
The cold. Oh, my goodness, because you hear all these incredibly sad stories, and I feel for every facility out in the United States. They're heartbreaking, but we were not one of the heartbreaking ones, and that kept us happy, that the families could see how their loved one was doing. They could physically, we couldn't touch, we couldn't hug,
That was such good fortune that you guys designed something. What are the chances? You designed it in advance of COVID.
Yeah, and actually a friend of mine, Jake MG, had started with the idea of just a plexiglass screen, and we still use those plexiglass screens for our performers, because we've had outdoor concerts, right? So
During COVID?
Yeah, we brought people out into the parking lot, and the performers would be behind a plexiglass screen, and everybody, Mom enjoyed summer concerts, and, some of the high school kids we had on Veterans Day, St. Dominic High School Band came and performed outside. We had veterans parades. We had bubble buses.
Now that's a COVID band. That's good.
We have COVID everything, and so really inside of our community, you wouldn't have known there was a pandemic going. In fact, some of the residents are like, "Why now? What's going on out there?" Which that was blessing. That was such a blessing.
So you. But you did lock down.
We did.
And
we
you
locked down.
protect your residents, and your residents stayed. No one died of COVID. No. Amazing. Tell me where many of your clients or residents, I should say, where do they mostly come from? What's the demographic of your?
I would say that most of them are right here. We go all on referral. Now, we do have a beautiful billboard up on Highway 70 of Mom for the Cheers to 40 years, but
I see it all the time driving down
Really?
I-70. Yeah. Yes.
So I'll have to look for that.
Yeah.
It's on
Yeah.
70?
Took me 40 years to get there, but
but really our demographic is just local. It's most of all of our residents come by referral. We've had generations. We've had, parents and then their children now because it's 40 years, right? But we really typically don't market very much. Usually we're on a wait list. COVID has set us back. We've got maybe 5 openings. So, but typically we're always on a wait list.
Right.
But it's just referral. It's people. And I think that's the safest thing. When you're looking for your loved one, when you're looking for your mom or your dad, you want to know from a friend that's been there, that's had their parent
Word
in
of
a
mouth.
facility.
Word of
right,
mouth, yeah.
Right. So
yeah, we rarely advertise in the paper. Yeah.
right.
And you all are family owned.
Totally,
Yes.
completely family owned.
27 family members? Now,
29.
No.
Oh, 29. Now, I have to ask, do you ever bicker and have disagreements over the business?
We do. But we have to respect each other, right? So if there's something financial going on, they listen to me. And if it's something, my son through COVID, he has been the gatekeeper, and I will give it up for Justin. He has kept us safe. And I'm the one that's saying, "Oh, come on, please just let us." And he's like, "Mom, no," and we have to respect each other, and I do. And Ashley runs away with her beautiful butterfly, social happy. And, so, no, the thing that we have the most trouble is saying when we're doing our Sunday night suppers, which we still always get together and do Sunday night suppers, that we don't talk work. We cut off work.
That's probably hard to do.
I imagine.
When we all work there, right?
Yeah.
But no, we have to cut that off then. But so no, it is amazing that we all love each other's
Right. And can get along, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the focus is on independent and assisted living. Is that fair to say? And you also offer that higher tier of assisted living. I think there's in the state taxonomy there's a assisted living 1 and assisted living 2. And 2 requires nursing, is that, or have a nurse available?
But we do anyway, right? So in O'Fallon, we're actually, our license is residential care facility 2, which is like assisted living 1. And in Wentzville, we're assisted living 2. So the Wentzville facility has a little bit higher of a license. They're both actually staffed the same. You know, we have registered nurses or licensed nurses around the clock. But we do hospice in our Wentzville facility, which has been such a blessing, over the years. So
what about memory care? That's kind of a specialty, isn't it?
It really is. We like to say that we can take our residents that have memory issues up to a certain level, and then we refer on, when they're past social acceptable behaviors, when they get past,
and
certain
at
things.
Night and things.
Yeah. Now we do have Wander Guard in Wentzville. So, if you're just pleasantly, but there's many great care providers, in the community that we refer to. Right. And that's another thing is we've got a great camaraderie with a lot of the skilled facilities, as well. We know when our time, that we can't take care of them, and we do pass them on to somebody who's able to do that.
How do you handle that? You're familiar, of course, intimately, I'm sure, with the options that are available for skilled care. What's the process by which you make a transition when you conclude that somebody has just deteriorated to the point where you can't go further?
Right. Ironically, it's always been a team. Now, this pandemic year has been hard, but we still do. We really try to keep our family members, you have to be a team with the family, right?
Right.
So the very first thing we do is we talk to the family and we say, have you noticed what we've noticed? Have you seen, what we're seeing, and we just start that discussion. It's never quickly. We see that it probably is coming down the road, so we do give them lots of notice.
Time to plan.
Yeah,
do you suggest
absolutely.
a specific facility, or do you just kind of present these that are available, and what role do you play?
Over time we've known, yes, we do. There are some very great skilled facilities in the area, and we do make specific referrals. We do. Sometimes it's hard, because corporate facilities tend to change administrations quickly, so today we might hear something about, a different facility, and tomorrow it might be completely changed. They might have gotten new administration and everything's changed, so we really do have to stay on top of who we're referring to. And, we go about the same way, asking our residents' families who are there, how are you being treated? How are you being taken care of? Because you really do have to get inside the walls to know, But there are some really good providers that we work with that we can trust, and that's who we refer to.
Right. Now, Mary Ann, was it always the plan that someday that you would go and live in your own facility?
Well, I figured I probably would sometime, because actually, you do grow older. My biggest problem, I was so busy, I really didn't think about it.
I bet.
She's actually
I didn't even sometimes wonder how old I was.
Yeah. Well, you can tell them about the apartment. So she's actually lived over in the facility in her own apartment.
My own apartment, yeah.
That she designed downstairs, So she's had her own little penthouse
I've
downstairs.
I've had that for 13 years, and finally somebody said, got to come upstairs.
We said, okay.
I'd still be down there if they said, but they thought maybe at my age and it would just be better to be up with the other residents, and be an actual resident. So I wasn't a resident very long. I haven't been. But I was pleasantly surprised, though, that the attention that everybody gets from our employees. We have some fantastic employees. I really do. And, they bring people things in, and it's for them and for the residents, they can ask a lot of stuff, and the employees just go out and get it for them,
What do you look for when you're hiring? How do you hire good employees?
Hands down, it's their personality. We can train people to clean, and we can train people to, be dietary servers. And if they don't have a love and a compassion, and just genuinely like people, that's what we look for. And we have had oh my goodness, some amazing stories with, young dietary servers that would come in and work after school. It's a great job, 4 to 7:30, and you go home and you do your homework. And then they get interested in nursing. And then they go to nursing school and they still come back and work for us in the summer. And then they, become nurses, and they, some of them are traveling nurses now. Some of them stay with us a long time. Some of our employees have been in almost every department. Now they're the supervisors, but, Doris, we can go on and on. There's so many of our employees that have been with us.
But it's
for
really
such a long
hard to
time.
prevent turnover in your field, and it's not a glamorous job for Americans, sadly. Many Americans don't want to do things like domestic work or the sort of care of a nurse aide, and that's sad because those are among the most needful jobs, as well as to many people they're very fulfilling because they're hands-on.
See, our turnover rate is really, really low. I mean, our employees, they come in and they stay. I don't know what the percentage is.
I think the magic trick, is just being appreciative. Our kind of motto was, every human, resident or employee, needs to be appreciated, needed, and loved. And it's so true, I know it sounds like a broken record, but we absolutely, we'll pray together, the employees they'll bring struggles. If, like I was talking to Mom earlier, if somebody is sick at school, go take care of your child. We'll cover you.
Yeah.
We have to be flexible.
It sounds like they're your extended family.
They are. They absolutely are. And I respect staff in O'Fallon and Wentzville. And Mom, we actually stole her away to Wentzville during the pandemic because I missed her so much and I didn't get to see her. So she got to know both staff,
Right.
both. And she loved them, too. And
we have an Employee Appreciation Day every month. It's not just once in a blue moon. Every month we have
monthly.
Appreciation Day.
That's unusual.
Yeah, we give them a great big lunch, and we just, we celebrate the employees.
Yeah.
And of course, we celebrate all the birthdays. That's one thing I always missed in the other nursing homes. Nobody celebrated the employees' birthdays, but we do.
Yeah.
Mom likes to
great.
celebrate.
So,
And celebrating your 40-year milestone, 40-year anniversary, I imagine there's lots of celebrations going on this year.
We've got some stuff planned. We're kind of backtracking. COVID really did take every second of our time. We dropped everything and said we have to keep everyone happy and healthy.
So financially, was that a challenge for you? You still had a pretty high occupancy, though, didn't you?
We did. We were very, very lucky. Financially, we also appreciated all the state funds that we got for testing. We've been testing like crazy. As soon as the testing, became available, that really helped us.
So have you managed to get the vaccine to everybody in your facilities? Or?
Yeah, we've done. Yes.
Yes. 100%.
100%.
Oh, we got both of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
One a week apart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got the vaccine with both doses.
So we're
Yeah.
only, Lake Ridge is the only one that has to get the second, the affordable in Lake St. Louis. They still have to get their second dose. Otherwise, everybody has got immunity. We've checked for antibodies. Everybody's got antibodies,
Wow.
So
Marvelous.
we're one of
Yeah.
the 14 homes that have got the vaccinations, and there's like over 200.
That didn't have a COVID outbreak.
Right.
We're one of 14 facilities in Missouri that didn't have a COVID outbreak.
14. Only 14 that didn't have COVID
Yeah,
outbreak.
and there's like over 200, I think, facilities.
It was 2,500.
2,500.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
know that
yeah.
many.
Man,
Yeah.
oh man.
And
You might want to check those.
Did you qualify for, though, PPP or some sort of assistance
We
in
did.
that way?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
That was probably critical.
That absolutely was critical. And where that helped us out so much was when you said, "Oh, I just have a little bit of sore throat," and this was before testing, and my daughter was at school, and you stay home. You just go ahead and stay home, and we're going to bring a different employee in. So those PPP loans helped us with payroll, huge, in order that we would be able to continue to take care of people, that they didn't have to worry about not having a paycheck, and yet we had somebody that we didn't have to worry that COVID was coming into.
And you didn't have to do layoffs.
No.
Okay.
No,
That's
not at
great.
all.
Yeah. So tell me about how difficult it is in your industry to make money. I know it's a very personal industry. It's based on your ability to have relationships, very personal relationships with your residents and your families. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of facilities out there that have entered, and I've wondered whether they will all succeed. It just seemed like the last 10 years there were a number of facilities that appeared out of nowhere. And I see it in this area, but I saw it in Florida for sure. We spent some time in Florida, and I'm telling you, it is every third block almost. It seems like there's some sort of long-term. And they're not skilled care. Usually they're either independent or assisted. But it clearly is intended to be community living for adults with some assistance on some level available.
So we are blessed with, and our market is really kind of middle income market. There are a lot of higher luxury upscale. Thank you. Facilities out there. A lot of the brand new ones that are coming in are meeting that market. My admissions director, Kathy Swanigan in Wentzville, she always says, we are not budget and we are not bargain, but we are definitely the best bang for your buck because, Mom, right? She always taught us to be thrifty and not waste the money, but we also want to make sure that everybody has the best of the best, So especially in O'Fallon where our mortgage is low, right, because we've been there since 1981, those prices are very much more affordable in assisted care facilities. So that's wonderful there. Now in Wentzville, right, we're brand new. To answer your question, we're doing great because we are we watch our pennies. We're very careful how we spend our money, and we don't look for a huge profit. We don't. It's not who we are. It's not the people we are. We live right in the community. We shop at Walmart.
Right.
So we are who we are, and we're not trying to get rich. We're trying to afford a living, and more than anything, we just want to be proud of our product. We want to be able to attend our churches and walk out and be proud of our company, and we all are.
Well, and I think that maybe the hard times that will exist will be in those that are competing at the very top with luxury, and they're trying to serve a 1% clientele.
I don't know how they do it. When I look at the books, and I think those companies still have to give so much profit to those REITs, and they have to, all those investors and all those corporations. I feel sorry for the management companies. I feel sorry for the administrators of those facilities. I don't know how they do it because I have to answer to her. I have to answer to Tim. I have to answer to my employees, my families. I know who I have to answer to, but I don't have to answer to any outside investors.
And you also control your overhead. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of these new facilities are going into very expensive areas, and they're building. Uh-huh. So that they're all competing for a very small number of people that are going to be able to afford those.
I don't know how they're affording them. I don't, so many of our seniors are on fixed incomes, and that's back in 2012. And I'll give this, shout out to Tim. He came to me and he said, Kathy, so many people are coming to me that can't afford assisted care. They need to be in community living. You have got to help me find a way to provide housing for these seniors, So I did some digging and we were again blessed. Pete Ramsell helped us navigate through Missouri Housing Development, and we built Twin Oaks at Stone Ridge. We got approved.
And that's the one in Wentzville?
That's the one in Wentzville.
Okay.
And those are affordable independent housing. So they don't carry any nursing, but they can have home health come in, and help out with them. But
they can they draw on people from your facility to come in and help out?
We don't know. No, that would be a separate. It would be a separate home health, company that helps them. So it's completely independent. We just
so it's not part of Twin Oaks.
No.
Okay, but
No.
it is something that you all developed
Correct.
and
Right.
sold, or do you
No.
still own?
No, we still own it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it was definitely a passion that we wanted to be able to not just help the people that had money, that we could help, I think the income limit over there for those apartments is like 31,000, or under. Jessica Brannon, my niece, is property manager over there, right? So she has all the answers on that one.
So
but
would that be considered Section 8?
no, it's not
Okay.
Section 8. It's rent. It's restricted. Like you can only make it's income restricted.
Okay.
Right.
And you're eligible for certain state benefits?
Nope.
Federal?
The rent is approximately $500 a month for those senior. It's a senior independent, locked, secure, beautiful 2-bedroom apartments.
But there's some sort of subsidy coming from some
veterans,
source.
Tax
the
credits.
veterans, they have a good payment.
Well, that's for assisted. Yeah, that's for
For
assisted.
assisted.
For this one, the development of it, to be able to offer those rents so low, we were approved and given tax credits.
I see.
So it's
Okay.
Missouri, yeah. So
Okay.
that was
Missouri tax credits.
correct.
Got it.
Correct. So yeah.
So why didn't you call that, though, Twin? Extend
Well, we did.
your
I mean,
brand.
so it is. It's Twin Oaks at Stone Ridge.
Okay.
But it just has to be a different company because we can't provide care.
Yeah.
So
it's all independent living, and
Correct.
and it's independent in the way that they have to find their own resources to come there.
right.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. So that's another option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we do the affordable and we do middle market and we do, our Wentzville is not cheap. But
What can I ask you? Do you all talk about kind of what rates run? I mean, I assume your clientele is middle class, but can you give some idea of the range of what the costs are?
sure, we do semi-privates. So that's our most affordable. So our rents range anywhere from like $2,900 semi-private and assisted, up to a private room rate. We just expanded at Wentzville, so it's $5,100, for a private,
Right.
apartment kind of thing, assisted.
So otherwise, it would be for $2,900, 2 people can be in a single. Is it a
Like
room
a couple
or is
Yeah.
it?
can come
Okay.
in. Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's nice for couples because with couples, it's harder because it's all coming out of the same income. If you have 2 different people, they have 2 different incomes.
Yeah, couples.
So
or,
for couples especially, they like that.
right, or just for two people.
Yeah.
And the way again, and her design was very cool. Even on the semi-private, is it's 2 separate rooms with a bathroom, so they share a bathroom and they share a closet.
Oh, so
kitchenette.
they're not in the same room, literally?
No.
Yeah.
So that was her again.
That's
because
important.
Very good
if you
design.
if you rent it as a private, right, which she's she's in a private, so one side is her bedroom, one side is her living room, and then she has her bathroom and kitchen. But if you rent it as a semi-private, one side is one person, one side is another person.
But they share the bath
and closet.
And then you have common areas that in effect become the living room, right, so to speak? Would you say in that
Absolutely.
scenario?
The community areas.
So that's another. I'm gonna
That
flag
the
her
mall.
for her design.
I love that one.
She did not want hallways. Her bad word is hallways. She hates hallways. So the design is they come out and there's a living area, there's a fireplace. You come out, there's a garden area. You
That
come
is
out, there's
great.
Yeah, it
tables.
is.
So most of the residents, I would say, 75% of the residents keep their doors open, and they love to see the coming and going.
Yeah.
Most of the units have patios or balconies. Our residents do
plus-
everything from gardening to, driving tractors. We're
Driving tractors.
driving tractors.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was, we had a farmer and my husband found him a tractor and that was in O'Fallon because 7 acres.
Right.
And putter around on a tractor and, the ladies will, all our ladies are so good. Some of them, quilting, of course. And I have to say bingo is still very popular.
I like bingo. Hey.
Though, Miss Huber, you were really futuristic in saying that you didn't want these hallways because that's really a concept now that just in the very recent.
Well, see, in that middle area is 22 feet wide and 145 feet long. So that's
That's a
a
good
facility
size.
all by itself. Yeah.
Well, and she built it.
and
She was hauling drywall.
That's an open area, and it's got high ceilings. Everybody. The mall is still my the Popular area.
Yep.
People love that area because they come out. It don't look like a nursing home or anything.
Yeah.
They got their little rooms,
Uh-huh.
and they come out if they want to and congregate, But with this 22 by 145 feet, I mean, there's plenty of place for everything. We got, what do we got?
Pool tables and
table,
fitness, fitness equipment and TVs and,
TV
and
on
Christmas
each end.
time. It's decorated so beautifully.
And the
Great big old
fireplace that you
fireplace,
Yep,
A
full
huge-
wall.
Yeah, a fireplace that goes from here all the way to the ceiling. It's really great.
Does it feel almost like you're back in, say, high school or college?
Yeah, I think it does.
Well,
Well, we just have a lot of fun.
well, now,
That's the way I
but that
say it.
price seems pretty reasonable when you think about getting and meals are included in the $2,900 if you're sharing one of those apartments.
So you are very savvy on senior care because that is the one thing that we've stuck to is we do one price and one price for everything. It's not a rent and then tier 1 is this, tier 2 if you need a shower, 2, 3. We started from the beginning and we haven't changed that plan.
And we don't charge for haircuts and all that kind of stuff.
Right. It's all
forget
included.
that. I mean, they don't have when they pay their rent. That's it. They don't have. Oh, we got this and got this.
So you pay
So
for
no
haircuts?
separate fees for that?
No.
Really?
I wouldn't expect haircuts to be covered.
No, I'll tell you. Well, and the haircuts are the men's haircuts. Men get their haircuts once a month, and then the ladies get their hair set and shampooed every week. And
now, if
that
they
is
have
a great
perm,
day.
They do pay for their perm.
I bet.
But they're
Yeah.
very, very reasonable. You're like 15 or 20, something like that. For a perm.
It's regular cosmetology.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Prices for perms. But what Tim found early on was if you charged for everything you do, if you charge for every time you clip a fingernail or disperse a med or help with a shower, the seniors were more likely to say, I don't want that help.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't need that
Right.
help.
Which you don't want.
Which you
Yeah.
don't want. You want them to be able to say, pull the cord, we'll help you, get to the bathroom, or we'll help you with your shower, or we'll do whatever. But if you're continually ticking that price up every time,
Especially the hair sets. I mean, all our women, they get their hair set, basically if we want to or not.
well,
Because
that
some of them
hair day is fun.
sometimes don't want hard to do that, but we coax them into it, so that everybody always looks pretty.
Yeah. Well, and I think that people want to think that whenever they're planning for what their costs are going to be to live,
Right.
they want to think that there are not a lot of things that can creep up to bite their budget.
Yeah.
So to know that you're paying, for example, the $2,900 and it's including that level of things. So it's including all the meals. Is that correct?
All the meals, yeah, absolutely. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. We sometimes, some of our memory residents will call it first breakfast, second breakfast, third breakfast. Just depends on what they want. But
give us a sense of how do you have good food, good and exciting food, and still be able to do it on a budget?
So I would love to shout out to John Ruggieri. So he was the owner of Gio's downtown, and he now works for us
Really?
in Wentzville. And we have the best food. I've never been so spoiled in all my life. So he's been with Heritage Point now for 2 years. And our breakfasts are made to order. You order an omelet, you order, biscuits and gravy, pancakes. It's all served, right there. In O'Fallon, Larry Connor has been with us for 25 years, I think. He's our dietary, and we've gotten, and I love this, they call it the Gold Carrot Award, for cleanliness and, impeccable kitchen. He's just right on that.
It sounds like you know how to surround yourself with good people in your
That's
organization.
the key.
But how do you? I just want to press for a minute longer on the meals, because it strikes me as a real challenge when you have a community environment and you have food costs being what they are, and they're not getting cheaper. I don't believe these inflation numbers. I mean, commodities have clearly gone up a lot more than 1.4%. So I think food too, and part of it's supply chain related. So I'm wondering, how do institutions such as yours, or communities will say, how do you afford to buy food that doesn't seem like it's the sort that you find normally in hospitals.
Yeah, no, we absolutely have the fresh food and the slicers. They
Like
slice
fresh
the meat,
vegetables?
fresh vegetables. My produce bills are usually up there.
We have a salad bar.
and we do
They can have as much salad as they want.
well. And there's lots of things, but
Do you use local resources then?
yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. So to answer, we always offer like different entrees, but we don't. For our breakfast, we do a full menu. For our lunch and our dinner, we don't. We do offer choices, but we don't offer a full menu. And I do think that helps us.
Yeah.
So we're still
To
batch
keep
cooking.
costs down.
But what we've come to find out is that there still are favorites. There still is the fried chicken and the comfort food. We're moving into as our independent. We're moving into more fresh vegetables, more grilled chicken. And those type of entrees. But in our assisted, our silent generation, they just really do enjoy the comfort food.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
So if you can find what they most appreciate, it's a home run. And you don't always have to go off the beaten path and come up with something crazy, as long as it's a really good recipe and you've got a really good cook.
What about people?
Go ahead.
What about people that have special dietary needs, or people
absolutely.
that say are vegetarians? Do you accommodate?
Yeah, we absolutely do.
So
yeah.
I'm curious. So these people would be, though, a small percentage of your...
Right, and it's gotten a little bit more lenient than it was back in poor
much,
1981.
much, yeah, it used to be 1,900 grams or 1,850, and that's like a slice of bread. So,
Are these nutrition rules?
And they eliminated that now.
Yeah, especially for diabetics, it used to be really, really tough. Now they have relaxed the rules a little bit to the point, especially on our assisted, where if that's what they want, it still is their choice. If they want a half a piece of pie or whatever, back in the day it was everything had to be sugar-free and everything had to be, but there's also a sense of the quality of life.
I get it. I completely get it. Yeah.
So for a long time there was that kind of struggle back and forth, because we want to make sure that the residents are happy. We want to make sure they're healthy too, but it is their life. It is their choice,
right.
And at the end of the day, the families are probably more concerned with everything that goes into their mouth than they are. They want to enjoy. We have happy hour. Bring on the wine and the beer. We have it on the boardwalk. We have it on the outside patios. They love their happy hours.
Is that included?
Yes, it is included.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now we do have a 2-drink minimum or 2-drink maximum, not minimum.
But
it's so funny because
That'd be popular.
Ashley always says, "Boy, they do it. They want a heavy pour, Mom. They want a
Heavy pour.
heavy pour."
Well, and alcohol costs, gee, they're so expensive. But I can see where one advantage you would clearly have versus a real large institution that might have multiple facilities, 1,000+ residents. I can see where it's hard for them to provide interesting food because they have to buy in such quantity that it ends up being a sort of institutional purchase.
Right.
That would be my nightmare. If
Yeah.
I don't know everybody's name in the building, I would feel so bad. When you walk into the building and you know who they are, you know what they like, and you know the family members. Some of these really big, institutions, I would never want my mom there.
No.
To be in some huge, we really are family, and we really are,
So how do you decide on activities? You've mentioned that you want your tenants to have exciting, interesting lives
Sure.
there, and apparently they do. Mm-hmm. So how do you decide on what activities you offer?
So I would say, O'Fallon, and again, let's talk pre or post-COVID, not in the middle. We have had to get really creative with our, outdoor concerts and our bubble buses and our, crazy things that we've had to do at a distance. But like typically in O'Fallon, they love going to the casino. They are shoppers. We've known in O'Fallon they love to go to garage sales. Like they'll do one of the subdivision garage sales. In Wentzville, they tend to love the parks. They go to,
Progress Park, Rotary Park. park. Sure.
Different communities have different personalities.
They really do. Yeah.
So this is
they
something
do.
that anyone watching this should think about.
Yeah. It's funny. We're actually doing theater in our Wentzville facility. We've got some people who, really enjoyed the arts, not that they, and when we're actually going to go and perform it in O'Fallon, right? So we're trying to put some, a show together. I've always wanted, choirs. We've done talent shows and things like that before in the past. Happy hours are a big one. John Ruggieri does cooking classes, which are phenomenal. Everybody loves those because they get to eat, anything with food.
Do you ever do like field trips where you go somewhere?
Absolutely.
So
we have
all the time.
2 trips a week. Yeah, 2 trips a week. Typically, and again, this is pre or post, right? Typically, there's always a shopping trip. Target, Walmart, Dollar General. It used to be the mall. Sometimes they go to JCPenney. And then one is a fun trip, right? So
or a historical. Do you ever go to
especially-
historical?
they love the botanical gardens. A lot of times I'm trying to think of the stuff
Art
that actually
museum,
would go.
history
Science
museum.
Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during that pandemic, what we did, we took the bus. We went out to a park where nobody was around. So then we were able to go out. We had a fantastic picnic. We had fried chicken, the whole bit, and we spent almost 6 hours out there.
Really?
And the residents just loved it. Because we were all out of the bus, when we went
Fresh air.
Yeah, and some kind of like to walk around. We did some sing-alongs, and I enjoyed it because I'm a resident now, too.
It was so important to get them out of the building.
Yeah,
and
because
safely.
they were so confined, and this. We could yell and scream and do whatever we wanted to do.
I'm
Get
curious.
rowdy.
Do communities such as yours ever, and again, let's ignore COVID, do they ever do travel trips where they go somewhere
We
as a
do.
group, like
Yeah.
on a trip?
We went all the way to Branson.
We go to Branson and Nashville. Is where we
Oh,
go.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So, Mom, we went on several trips, and taking everybody to Branson. And we set up actually, it's one of our residents who is in the villa, and she was an activities director. And so she would always take control, and she would make the plans. And we'd go to Sight and Sound, and we'd go to, different. We went to the museums and several shows. And
How big of a group is that usually?
typically it was about 20, 25
Okay.
people would
That's a
sign
good
up.
number.
Everybody was invited. It was a mix between our assisted and our
They
independent.
wanted to go, And then we had the hotel that was, that's all pre-planned. So everybody has their own room and stuff when they, for an overnight.
What is the relationship in numbers between men and women?
That's a great question. It's always probably, I would say probably 75, 25, 75% women.
I've heard numbers like 85 to 90%.
We actually,
No, we have a lot of men.
we're seeing, a lot more men. And
But more women, though.
more women.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you're saying 75-25.
Yeah, yeah. I on a given day, I don't really.
I'm curious.
Well, because women live longer.
Yeah. And maybe another thing that's happening is that couples are moving in before the husband dies.
So we have seen a lot more couples, and I also believe that that's why the villa, option has become very popular. They're planning. They're planning in advance. They want to be in a senior community. And the relationships and the friendships are just amazing. And they've really bonded together, through the pandemic. And I will have to say it was fun because so they were not able to come into the building during the pandemic if they were, seeing outdoor families and that kind of stuff. But just recently, since everybody's vaccinated now, they are back over and doing happy hours. And it has been some kind of celebration.
I bet they're delighted.
So they're back right inside the facility visiting
as
like
long
they
as
did
everybody is vaccinated.
Yeah, which
okay.
is the CDC said
Right.
just today.
Yeah.
Right. And on the independent side, I'll clarify.
Okay.
I'm curious, do relationships often form?
That's what I want to
Yes,
know. I'm
we
glad you
have.
asked that.
Yeah, we got a wild affair coming up.
Oh, wild affair.
Well, she knows more
Wow.
about O'Fallon than I do. I do know that.
O'Fallon, yeah, there's
Yeah.
two people met together, and they just about spend all their time together.
I guess word travels fast in these facilities, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever get, say, two ladies fighting over one man?
Not so. We haven't seen that, huh?
No?
No.
But have you seen some of these relationships culminate in marriage?
Absolutely. I'm trying to think.
Sounds like usually not.
Usually not.
But
yeah.
but it has happened.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. It has happened. Yeah. Oh, there have been some. I can't even tell you the amazing stories.
But
and the
usually
amazing people.
we tell the families though.
I can see how families might be less
Make
enthused.
sure it's okay with the families. That two people are seeing each other.
Yeah, we do have relationships
because we still got to protect them with the families.
Yeah.
and lots of
They have to know
friendships
what's going
too.
on.
And we just had a 100-year-old birthday just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Margie
Wow.
Cook. She was amazing.
How long has she been with you?
She's been with us. So she started in a villa and then went to the independent and then is in the assisted. So she's been with us. She was one of our very first residents in 2010. So, yeah, so
You
she
must
was
be
90
taking
then.
good care of her.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's a doll. Yeah.
And she's in reasonably good health?
Oh my gosh, I'll show you her picture. She walked. She's at the furthest end of the hall, and she's still walking. You won't believe when you see her. She looks 65.
That's
She's amazing.
So how do you market? How do you reach people? I know that you get a lot of referrals, and so I know that you probably market. I'm sure you market less than some of the national
Our
organizations.
biggest one is word of mouth.
Okay,
That's our biggest draw.
but you have one billboard. But
Right.
do you typically do you find that church communities are a great place from which you would draw people
Yeah,
who would be interested?
We really do, and just community outings. We sponsor a lot of. We just sponsor a lot of things in our communities.
In your locally, because
Locally,
your
right.
people are going to come from within 30 miles or so of the facility.
Right. Oh, yeah, probably less than that. A lot of, like back to school fairs and different golf tournaments. And, so we're always kind of putting back into the community. That's really where most of our marketing dollars go.
And is it reasonable to say that you want to keep the same business model as you expand, that you don't want to become one of the big,
No.
you want to keep
Yeah,
these
but that's
small
going to be hard to
facilities?
do, isn't it?
That was Wentzville. That was the answer was Wentzville. So with O'Fallon, we had decided that we were either going to get eaten up or we were going to grow. And we really kind of faced that wall. And now with expanding to Wentzville and O'Fallon, we've thought about doing a trifecta, one more, but what we think we're going to do is just continue to concentrate, on we've got some acreage still in Wentzville, and
So you can expand in that location.
we are going to expand in that location, and we really are. It's going to be those villas because this the next generation that comes up, they want the senior community, they want the availability of meals, they want to know that there's security, they want the happy hours and the trips and the wine, that hey, take us to Defiance, let's go for a night out, and they want their freedom, they want their garages and their basements, and
Are they allowed to have pets?
yes, oh yeah, we're pet friendly.
That's great.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's nice to hear.
We don't take the big ones, do we? Or
It depends. Yeah, it depends. They get the animals have to do an assessment as well. we have to meet the animals too.
So got the animals.
Usually we don't mind the little ones, but no, nothing like that.
No Great Danes.
Yeah.
Not that.
Okay.
So as you grow, though, you expect to continue your same business model. You don't see yourself going into skilled care.
At this point in time, I'm going to say no. It's not that we haven't been asked. We want to do what we're best at.
Yeah, and it's different. I mean, it really is.
It really
different.
is
I
very
see that.
unique. Yeah.
and that's what we're at. Yeah, that's what we're good at. And again, there are some amazing providers out there.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of skilled facilities out there.
Right.
So why would we want to compete with them?
Right, and I would find it very satisfying to have the sort of relationship that you're allowed to have with your clientele, with your residents, and it's a different relationship when it becomes skilled care.
Right.
Not necessarily
right.
worse, but different.
Right.
And I can see where some people might prefer independent living, assisted living clientele, and they might not care as much for that end stage care.
And it's we just want to do what we're good at, and that's what we feel very comfortable, doing. And we can provide an amazing quality of life, all the way through hospice. So, many of our residents, do end, their time with us. And there have been amazing stories. The one that comes to mind is the family came in and, were able to, lay in bed with mom and kind of snuggle and just love them, to the end. And there have been some really, really awesome stories. Amazing individuals that we're able to meet and to know, and families that, come back. We have families that come back just to volunteer even after their loved one has passed, just because they got to be such good friends with their family's friends.
Well, and like you said, they've become an extended part of your family.
Right.
So time has flown as we've been talking here.
Yes, it has. But before we wrap things up, I do have a question. You look, Marianne, so lovely and youthful. What is your secret? I have to ask. You look so young.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just because I'm always, my mind is always going. It goes a mile a minute all the time. I think that's one of the things. And other than that, God gave it to me.
Well,
Amen to
I
that.
bet there's been good, clean living, too.
She is an amazing woman. She's, again, being very humble. She's a very hard worker. No one can ever outwork my mom. No one can outgive my mom. She's the most generous woman that that I've ever met.
Making me feel.
Well, and every one of her grandchildren, adore her. So she would rather walk a mile to be with her family, than to sit in any posh hotel or she's very humble. She's very loving.
Well,
and she's a very
Well, I
prayerful,
never did
faithful
go
woman.
into this for money. That wasn't. I didn't even care about the money part. All I wanted was be able to afford all the stuff that I needed to take care of the people. So I think it all started out with we had reasonable prices first of all, But I never have worried about money.
and you've been able to keep that model where you're in a middle price range.
Yeah.
And that attracts a lot of people. I mean, clearly it's the overwhelmingly large demographic that's out there that's struggling to figure out how to pay for this. Especially assisted living and independent, where it's more difficult to get assistance. So $3,000 a month, $6,000 a month even, is a possibility for some. When you come into St. Louis County and some of the more expensive facilities that I run into through some of our clientele, I'm hearing numbers like $10,000 a month. So for these people,
twice as much.
Yeah,
as our highest.
And St. Louis is cheap. I mean, so if you take the same tier of care and put it on the East Coast, you're over $10,000 a month, and without anything that is better that you can point to. You're in a different part of the country, but in terms of quality of life, the services are the same, the quality is the same, but you're paying clearly above $10,000 for that. So I think you found a niche that if you can keep your prices between $3,000 and $6,000, I mean, that's attractive.
Yeah. And again, it is the best care. My own mother is there, and I trust every one of my employees. I can't say any more than that. I mean, I trust my employees with my mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and one thing I've always heard is people have come in the door and they say they can tell the difference right away. They say it just feels different every time.
Yeah.
And they're brand new, and they think it just feels different. That's all. That's all they can explain it.
So time is up. It's been marvelous. You guys are marvelous guests. Miss Huber, my hat's off to you. One thing I like to say as I wrap up this show is I like to remind our listeners that you can come to this show and expect honest, forthright information. We're not compensated in any way, directly or indirectly, from our guests. Because we want to be able to bring in people and subjects that we have an interest in and that we think are good, and we wouldn't be allowed to do that if we had to only pick people that we had a financial relationship with. So anyway, you guys are marvelous guests. I know that people want to follow up. If they want to follow up, I guess they can get that from We want to post the information on the website.
Yes.
So you can go to ElderTalk.com, you can go to TuckerAllen.com and get further information on Twin Oaks. But we look forward to having you guys on again. Till next time, take care. This has been another episode of Elder Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Elder Talk with TuckerAllen, providing intelligent answers for those thinking about their future, with Attorney-CPA Joe Cordell. Sponsored by TuckerAllen, your estate and elder law advisors. For more information, visit TuckerAllen.com. Listen again next Saturday for another edition of Elder Talk with TuckerAllen. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.